here's an explanation of the difference between fixed items and varying items in Nifty payroll. If I open fixed items and I open varying items, the main difference between these two things is whether the figure that you're talking about applies to 1 month or whether the figure you're talking about applies to several months. Let me give you an example so that it makes sense. Let's say I have an employee called Paul and I hired him in January 2024. I can decide that at the point of hiring him, I know what I intend his future salary to be for the next, say, 1.5 years. So in this case, I have decided I'm going to pay Paul 50,000 up to June. Then in July, I'm going to increase his salary to 55,000, and I'm going to keep that salary for the next 12 months up to June of 2025. At which point I'm going to increase to 60,000. And I at least know that it's going to remain the same up to December, but I don't know whether I'm going to continue with that same salary after December 2025. Okay, so how would I represent this in Nifty payroll? This same information, if I take this, I copy this and I bring it to this sheet, I paste it here. This same information on Paul's salary can be represented in this way. Instead of listing every month that the salary applies to, I can say start in 2024 January and stop in 2024 June. Start the next one in 2024 July and stop it in 2025 June, like that. Start the 60,000 in 2025 July and continue until I decide to change it, but I don't know when that will be. It can be represented this way. So instead of having all these 25 lines or 24 lines, I can represent the same information in this way. So in Nifty payroll, that is what I have done. Under fixed items, anything that you expect to pay somebody for, let's say, 2, 3 and more months, instead of listing it month by month, you can put it in this fixed items schedule and say in advance how long this particular thing should go for. So this would apply to things like basic pay. In these examples, you can see house allowance, even deductions could come in here. So let's say like staff welfare. I know that I usually pay staff welfare, or rather deduct staff a welfare amount from staff of, say, 500 shillings, like this, and it doesn't change generally speaking. I can represent it like that, right? So that is fixed items. Now what about varying items? For varying items, I use this to pick figures that are either only appear once in a while, let's say like a bonus. Let's say like I want to pay a bonus in May. So let's see, where's bonus? Take here bonus. Say I want to pay a bonus of 10,000. So things like bonuses, we don't pay regularly. You pay like maybe once a year or twice a year. So varying items would be the right place to put something that is not paid often, and you specify the particular month to which it applies, or something which changes. So like this overtime of 6.5 applies to May, but if we go to April, same person, overtime again, but the amount was 5,000. So it varies from month to month. So that's the difference between fixed items, which stay the same over several months, and varying items which either appear once in a while or change from month to month. And that's the comparison of the representation of both items. And that is simply what fixed and varying items are. So what usually happens, first of all, the apps that use the month to month from, which is month to month from, which represents fixed things, are indicated with an F. And the ones which, so you can see all these apps are F, 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 F. The ones which do just every other month, or change from month to month, or it's every once in a while, are all represented by V's, like that. So how does this translate to the payroll? So like now we are in May. So in May, if I go to the fixed items, May 2024 falls somewhere in between these two for most people. So like if we take this 2023 January to no end, it means starting 2023, and I don't know when this will go on to. It will be forever until I change it. Be picking this amount. So in payslips of May, it will pick this amount for this person. But for Abdul here, who had a salary from 2023 Jan to July, he's not going to be picked because 2024 May is outside, it's after the month 2. So he's not going to appear. So anyone who has a figure that falls with, or rather May 2024 falls within the from and to, will appear in the payroll, right? Even this Paul Wambua. So for Paul, who we've put several different basic pays, in May, it's definitely going to pick this one. It's not going to pick this one because this one is only from July and this one is only from 2025 July. So the salary that the system is going to pick is the 50,000. So if I process, the system goes to each app and picks the correct figure. So for Paul, the figure it has picked for his basic pay is 50,000. But you notice also it has picked the overtime and the bonus. If I go into April and process again, you'll see that for Paul, it will pick the 50,000, but there is no bonus. And there is an overtime, but the overtime is a different figure, okay? Because what it's picking is what is indicated here. So that's the difference between the two. That's it. Once you understand that concept, then you'll know the ideal place to put your salary items, because all salary items can be put in any, either in fixed or varying. You have a choice. So it will tell you which is the more ideal place to put it. And the good thing with using fixed items is that it gives you an easier way to see the history of a person. So like now for Paul, it's easy to see that, oh, I had 50K as his salary from this to this, and then that to that, and that to that. It's an easier thing to look at than looking at a very long schedule like this, which shows every month and what the amount is. So it's repeating amount over and over and over again. So that's the difference between fixed items and varying items in Nifty Payroll.